Hello, BookTube. I've got 4 new books to show you today. They're all nonfiction, which puts me a bit in the minority here at BookTube, I know, but nonfiction is the bulk of what I read, and it's certainly the bulk of what I review, and all 4 of these are really good, so I thought I'd show them to you. Starting with The Fever of 1721. This is by Stephen Coss in a lovely hardcover by Simon & Schuster, and it's about the smallpox epidemic that swept through Boston, New England, and killed lots and lots of people. And it's reading this book, reading the energy of it, the dramatic sweep of it. It's almost impossible to believe that this is Stephen Coss's first book. It's his first work of history, first thing he's ever published. It's tremendously good, and as good as it is with the broader, sociological inquiry into the impact that the disease had on colonial New England, it's even better as a gallery of personalities. He has Benjamin Franklin and his older brother. He has rabble-rousing uh, Boston political agitators, a whole generation before John and Samuel Adams. He has it runs throughout the book, it is really the highlight of the book, a great portrait of Zabdiel Boylston, uh, insufferable, greedy, hard-handed, brilliant, brave Boston physician at a time when that was dark ages. And he knew it, and he still charged top dollar and sued patients who didn't pay. So it kills me that he hasn't had no large popular biography. Maybe Stephen Coss will take care of that. But he also uh, gives us a great portrait of insecure, smart as a whip, struggling, vain, self-deprecating Cotton Mather. I thought I'd read you a bit of that because it runs throughout the book. This is about Cotton Mather in the wake of the Salem witch trials. In a sense, Mather's biggest Salem crime was his failure to learn and change, to control his tendencies to speak and act precipitously, to overstate, exaggerate, show off, and cling unalterably to certain convictions. His inability to correct those flaws and to rein in those excesses would shape his life and warp his legacy. That's good stuff. Can't recommend this highly enough. Next up, we have 38 by Stephen Long. The title, of course, refers to the hurricane of 1938, which struck Long Island and New England, moved inland up into Vermont and Maine, killed hundreds of people. This was at a time when advance warnings and preparation for hurricanes was virtually unheard of, certainly in its infancy. Nothing like what we have today with, roving satellites and knowing 5 days out, which makes catastrophes like Katrina harder to understand. And it also, the book is really good, very lively, but it points a finger directly at New England's lack of preparation today, when we live in an era where rogue hurricanes are going to become more and more common. It's virtually a lock-solid certainty that in my life and yours, New England, Boston, will see a Category 4 hurricane strike it directly. And to say the least, Boston is not that much better prepared than it was in 1938. So you can read this as a thriller, an ecological thriller, but also as a cautionary tale. Next up, we have The Edge of Empire by an author with the enviable name of Bronwen Riley. Try saying that 10 times fast. And this is delightful. It's a tour of Britannia at the very end of Roman rule. She sort of takes a page from popular historians a century ago and gives us a quasi-fictional family, an extrapolation of people to personalize the history, and then tours them all around Britannia. And it's just a joy. I can imagine this will sell very well at gift shops in the north of England. But anybody who's interested in Roman history could like it. It's got wonderfully personal touches. I thought I would read you one of those about a roadside inn, the kind of roadside inn that our travelers might encounter. It isn't only food and wine that is on sale here. Scrawled on bar walls throughout the empire, from the sweltering dives of Pompeii to the smoky taverns of Bonn, are claims along the lines of, quote, "I screwed the barmaid." While some of these brags may be drunken jokes or fantasies, the law certainly regards innkeepers and tavern keepers as guilty of procurement if they're found to have girls offering more than just drinks. And the author also gives wonderful practical advice. It takes us right into the nuts and bolts of Roman life. This is about a particular convenient traveler's drink. Perhaps it is possible to find among this shady crew an honest bartender to run up some honeyed wine for the journey. It is a soothing drink which keeps well and is easy to make. Just combine ground pepper with skimmed honey in a small cask, and at the moment you want to drink it, mix as much as you like with wine. If you use a thin-necked container, dilute the honey mixture first with some wine so it pours freely. So there you go. That's the edge of empire. Wonderful stuff if you're interested in Roman history or if you've traveled in Britain. And the last of our 4 books today, extra gravamen in the shadow of Easter, is Robert Orsi's History and Presence, a study in the small scale of Catholicism and the real presence of the divine during the Mass. But in a larger scale, a study of what it means if your religion promises the actual physical presence of a God, and how that's not always a good thing. Orsi has a wonderful passage here. Where is it? If the gods were destined to disappear from the earth, as modern theorists anticipated, there would be increasingly little to see of them or to say about them, and so it was. This expectation gives the appearance of the gods an almost inherently subversive quality in a modern world. Presence is real, but not necessarily good. Not necessarily bad, and it is rarely either good or bad, as these words are understood in ordinary social discourse. It is a dreadful thing to be in a relationship with gods really present. Painful and unexpected consequences may ensue. It is not safe to be so raw and vulnerable to real presences, to make desire and need so transparent. That's an author who's thought a lot about his subject, and that is true throughout this book. It will, whether you're religious or not, and especially whether you're Catholic or not, it will make you think. And that's that kind of thing. Re-examining old settled questions, digging into subjects, digging into sources, and making you think about the results. That's what I love about nonfiction. And I confess, I don't often get that with fiction. I get other things with fiction. I get wonder and transportation, and I wouldn't give it up. But I thought I would put these 4 examples from the minority in front of you. And we'll have more, I'm sure, in days to come, including more fiction. Thanks very much, YouTube.